Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, April 10th, 2016. So Shawn and baby Big Dave are just gone from our lives now. So it seems as quickly as they came into our lives, they've just disappeared into the mist. I was so disappointed for Sage and for Nick, but I will say I think Y&R did a really good job with this one. If Shawn is actually gone and there is no more to be seen of her, no more twists down the road, which I don't know if that's true, I think that Y&R did a good job of just kind of making this a short little few week long storyline that was compelling. It was interesting. I'm sure it was controversial. It caused us to get to talk quite a bit about this girl and her decision and her choices and what she might be feeling. And ultimately, I think Y&R did a really good job of resolving the feelings of the mother. Shawn, although she left lickety-split real quick, hopped out of the hospital with her baby, she left this letter for Nick and Sage, which Sage didn't even want to read, didn't want to look at, didn't want to acknowledge that all of her hopes and dreams for the past few weeks and for her future were crumbling down around her. But Nick reads aloud the letter that this girl had written, and it was poignant. She said, essentially, "Thank you for everything you've done for me. I appreciate you. I've learned so much from you, but I love my baby and I want to be his mom." And I just really, from the beginning, felt like I identified with this girl. I thought the actress really did a wonderful job of bringing us into her world. And right up until the very end, I completely understood where she was coming from. The second I looked at my son, the second it became a reality, I knew that I needed to raise him, that I could do this. And maybe it was fear that motivated her from the beginning into thinking that she wasn't someone who could be a suitable parent, and throughout the process, she changed her mind and had her life changed through Nick and Sage. But that doesn't help Nick and Sage. That gives them very little to go on, in fact. My heart was broken for Sage as she takes the letter, crumples it up, and says, "Great, Shawn gets a life lesson and a baby. What do we get?" That also to me seemed very identifiable. I feel for Sage, I really do. Not even just because we know that her baby is still alive, but just as a human being. She's a mother who's lost something, and everyone in her world is trying to rally around her and help her through this, including Chelsea, including Sharon. It's so bizarre how Sharon's attitude has changed over the course of the past couple of weeks. Sharon and Sage were developing this friendship for a while, and then Sharon started seemingly trying to sabotage Nick and Sage's attempts to adopt this baby, and sort of underhandedly kind of, or maybe it wasn't intentional, but not really saying nice things about Sage, going out of her way to give compliments to Nick, but kind of abandoning Sage when Sage needed a girlfriend. And now all of a sudden it seems that we're back to that. Sharon offers to let Sage see Sully as often as she wants, because for some unknown reason, that is what helps Sage feel comforted. I mean, taking apart the fact that we know that baby is hers, I don't know if that's what Sage needs. Why would you not help Sage get her own child and instead step it up and be a friend and allow her to have more of an active role in your child's life? I think that Sage is absolutely fixated on having a baby, having a child, and she has this narrow one-track mind of how she's going to get there, and she has thrown away any other options, such as adopting an older child or, any other number of avenues. She really wanted to have this baby of her own, and of course we know that Sully is actually Sage's, and I'm guessing that Sage spending all of this extra time with Sully is ultimately what's going to lead to the revelation somehow. I don't know exactly how all of that's going to play out, but it can't be a coincidence that Sage is going to start playing more of an active role in the child's life. We have Dylan and Sharon working really hard to put together the pieces of what happened at Fairview. Dylan, at the beginning of the week, had this interview with the nurse who was at Fairview the night that Sharon, in quotes, gave birth. And that nurse, was it me, or did she just pass that test with flying colors? The woman looks like she's the most sincere, nice, helpful nurse on the planet. In fact, Sharon realized that Sully had a fever this week, which I will tell you, red flags went up all over the place for me initially because I thought, there's something wrong with Sully that's going to require a paternity test. I'm just waiting for how Y&R is going to drop this big bomb on us and not knowing how or when or where it's going to happen. But maybe it was just to get Sharon an excuse to get to the hospital to run into that nurse, because Sharon had a little chat with the nurse on her own. And even though the nurse, she again just handles it with flying colors. The nurse is just, oh no, I didn't work at Fairview, but I remember this little guy, and she's asking to hold the baby, and it's very awkward for Sharon. Sharon has been having more nightmares, more memories, and she gets this unsettling feeling from the nurse, which I get it too, because this woman, I cannot stop thinking that she's somehow connected to Ian Ward. I mean, she seemed like a brainwashed victim, like she came straight out of the path, I would imagine. She just, to me, seemed so convincing in her sincerity, but we know, and she knows, that that nurse took Sage's baby from that hospital and gave it to Sharon. She knows that, and there's no way around it. Ian Ward is back. I love that guy. I just think he always has the best lines, the best delivery. He's an adequate level of creepy for me. I buy into it every time. The interesting piece is that all week it seemed like at the beginning of the week, it seemed like Ian was trying to get Victor hurt. I mean, he was saying it's really dangerous here in prison and you're gonna need some protection, and I can offer you that protection. And he was bringing other inmates around and making suggestive comments to them, indicating that he was gonna somehow get Victor hurt. Then unfortunately, Victor is right in the middle of this egomaniacal dream regarding Victoria, wherein she is throwing herself into Daddy's arms saying, please forgive me, and he's opening his arms wide, and like as if that's all he wants is for them to beg for forgiveness. And all of a sudden he wakes up from this dream and he's been stabbed while he's sleeping with his cell open. I mean, whatever. There sure is a whole lot of leeway in this prison, which is all I've been thinking all week. So Victor has to go to the hospital, and he's not really talking about what happened. He suspects that he knows who stabbed him, but he's not telling Dylan and Paul. Of course, the police are asking questions, even throwing the possibility of a prison transfer onto the table, but Victor's not giving into it. He's not taking it, and he's not giving up any info. It just seems to me that for a man like Victor, I think being in prison is probably worse than being dead. Victor, unfortunately, has to accept this new reality of his. I think everyone around him probably assumes that he has a plan to get out, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe prison is his new reality, and he has no choice except to learn these ropes. There's no choice here. He cannot get out of the ring. He has to fight. So maybe he would be better protected if each inmate's cell didn't have a door that revolves wide open, allowing anyone, including other inmates, to mosey on in, come and go as they please. It's apparently this prison is on the honor system. It's ridiculous. The twist was, though, Victor ends up right back in prison very, very quickly, and Ian moseys on into Victor's cell and tells him, oh, he had nothing to do with the stabbing. No, he was just trying to play big man. And instead, Ian is still pushing this, you need me, let's have an alliance, an unholy alliance, of course. We need to fight, Ian says, the real power or the real problem here. We need to work together to overcome who the real enemy is. And first of all, I don't know, do we believe him? Do we believe that Ian didn't stab Victor? I would love to hear how you took that this week. Is there a chance that there really is another enemy, someone else in prison who could be after Victor? I mean, can you get a list? I mean, I could sit here and make a list of all of Victor's potential enemies over the years. So, I mean, if it could be absolutely anyone, but specifically, if it's not Ian Ward, then you tell me, who is it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Victor calls Adam into his hospital room to tell him, avenge me. Come on, son, avenge me. Who says that? Victor, it's like he's not even playing on this plane of reality. Who on earth needs to have their death avenged while they're still alive? I loved Victor guilt-tripping Adam, saying, well, you brought Ian Ward into our lives after all, so if he does kill me, I want you to kill him. Ooh. I can't, really? You want Adam to kill Ian Ward? That seems bizarre to me. It seems not Victor-like. Everyone assumed that Victor was calling Adam into the hospital to try to get him to take over Newman Enterprises, not to kill Ian Ward. Something's off with Victor. Chelsea catches wind that Adam's been summoned, mostly because Adam was open about it. He tried to dance around the topic, not tell her too much as usual. And Chelsea and her cape, yes, that's right, Chelsea was wearing a very glamorous cape this week, or it was more of a cape dress, decides to swoop in, fly down, and try to save Adam from himself. She says, we're gonna talk about this, and he skirts the issue, says no, it's nothing to do with that Newman Enterprises, but you know, they're still family. You know, I mean, it's clear that Adam has a soft spot. It's clear that Victor does still know what buttons to push, and they've been pushed throughout all of this process. And Chelsea just says, you know what, you don't get it. You don't see that Victor doesn't want you to avenge his death. He's playing you. He's trying to play on your sympathy. And if you don't see it, then go ahead, avenge your father, run his company, do whatever it is that you're gonna do anyway. I'm gonna stop fighting it. And I think that was the right choice on her part. I was kind of glad to see her come to that conclusion, saying to Anita later in the week, I'm tired of being this squeaky, whiny wife who's constantly trying to change her husband, and I'm just gonna stop now. But I also identify with the fact that she says we have this shared dream, and it doesn't have anything to do with Newman Enterprises, and I don't want it to, and I just want to raise our family and be quietly happy, independent of the Newman family and the Newman company. And Adam loses sight of that. It's Nikki syndrome is what it is. She is absolutely becoming the new Nikki of the show. You Chelsea are going to need to fully accept that he is who he is, not just give lip service and say that you accept it and then continue to try to change him over the years, because you're going to end up exactly where Nikki is today. Look at that woman, because that is your future, and it is really not pretty. Honestly, I keep thinking that Nick is the Newman man that Chelsea really wants or should want, whether she knows it at all, and I'm sure she doesn't, but she kind of seems to like she likes the Newman, but she wants the guy who's on the outside. It's always been Nick, well, I mean, for the past decade, that Nick has not been the one that's been involved in Newman Enterprises, not been consumed by the company. Nick seemed to operate his life independent of the family for a very long time. And it seems, I just keep thinking that what we're going to see is naturally Adam and Sage gravitating to one another when the baby switch is revealed, and then Chelsea and Nick gravitating to one another. Maybe it's just me. I mean, Nick sees Adam at the hospital and he's not happy about it. He perceives Adam as a threat. He rightly did point out, maybe you forgot, Adam, he said it to Victor. He said, maybe you forgot, Adam took the stand and testified against you too. Victor is very quick to say he doesn't want to have anything to do with anyone in the family because they all turned against him. Well, he's still talking to Adam. He's still asking things of Adam. Adam and Victor they might as well be two little peas in a pod. They think alike. They seem to have this silent understanding of one another, and even if Victor wasn't asking Adam to help with the company, maybe Adam just knew that was kind of what Victor was asking. He didn't have to say it. And in fact, I think it was Nick who mentioned, or he had a line this week saying, sometimes with Victor and with Adam, it's what they're not saying. And I think that was really a very astute observation to make. Nick decides that if Adam is getting involved with Victor, and completely assuming that Victor wants Adam to get up in Newman Enterprises and unseat Victoria, then Nick is going to toss all of his 10 years of independence right down the drain, and he's going to go work with Victoria at the company. He doesn't have the baby coming anymore, so he's ready to jump in and help and get a clean shave. Did everybody notice that he was no facial hair this week? It's been a long time. I think that was very significant. It seems like such a small thing, but to me that signals a change in the character. His facial hair started happening when he was starting the coffee house, having the underground, doing his other various Restless Style, his other non-Newman ventures, and now here he is coming clean shaven across the bow to Newman Enterprises, and it seems like maybe what we're going to see is a little bit of a digression in Nick's character, or possibly, I don't know, maybe even something closer to what we saw in Victor's It's a Wonderful Life fantasy. Maybe Nick is going to become some hardcore business guy like Adam, maybe like Victoria. Adam, kind of surprising to me, goes to see Victoria after he visited with Victor. Victor, again, overtly did not ask Adam to do anything related to Newman Enterprises, but Adam just gently tries to go to Victoria, give her a little bit of a pep talk. He was really complimentary toward her, saying, I just want to tell you that, as my sister, this company is going to be in trouble if something does happen to Victor, if he does die, and you're here at the helm. I'm not trying to get involved. I'm not looking for a job. I just want you to do everything that you can do to save the company. And Adam has that in him too. Even though maybe right now he's not involved, he still believes that company is his birthright, and it is, and he wants to see it succeed. It means something to him. Whether Adam admits it or not, it means something to him. And I don't think you can deny that. So he actually told Victoria, look, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice here. To save the company, you're going to need to be as ruthless as the man on the wall behind us. And to me, I thought, yes, that is exactly what we're going to end up seeing. Victoria and Nick are both going to learn that running this company means setting your future in stone, which also means setting your personal life aside. Newman Enterprises and ruthlessness go hand in hand. You cannot have one without having the other. I just have this very strong feeling that both Victoria and Nick are going to find themselves turning into what they tried to destroy. Jack Abbott is finding himself running around needing to do a whole lot of damage control right now. I loved and appreciated that scene early in the week where he was trying to schmooze that reporter who was asking questions about all of the turmoil, that big press conference that blew up last week where Billy got smacked in his face by Victoria and she declared war. This reporter's trying to sniff around and get the goods, and Jack just turned on that old Abbott charm. She was hot for him, for sure. It was adorable. I can't put my finger on where I've seen that woman before who played the reporter. I've seen her somewhere and I can't place it. It's driving me crazy. Maybe you guys know. Leave me a comment and let me know. So, Passkey made a lot of money for Jabot, but there's a big old can of worms that's coming along with it. Victoria hires Michael this week in a consulting position to just sue everyone at Jabot. Let's just drag them all into this, get them to confess the truth about Passkey, that it was stolen, that they conspired to steal it away from Newman Enterprises. I want everyone deposed, including Summer, including my lying ex-husband. Oh man, I tell you, I am really into Billy and Victoria right now. I like this Billy, I like this Victoria. I think there is like a fiery chemical reaction happening between these two, and I'm loving it. Oh, I have to tell you guys that the poll results from last week were also so fascinating to me. So last week I asked you, and I have wanted to ask you this for a while. It just finally seemed like the right opportunity to do it. Last week's poll question was, who is your favorite Billy Abbott? And it was hands down smash, runaway result. Everybody still loved Billy Miller. He's the Billy that I think we saw for the longest. He was obviously a very talented actor. He brought a lot of depth to that role. I think in a lot of ways, he kind of made us get to know Billy as an adult. Jason Thompson, the current Billy, was second. I mean, it was 70% Billy Miller, 17% Jason Thompson, the current Billy, and then we had a pretty much tie between David Tom and Burgess Jenkins. I still like old David Tom. I still like Burgess Jenkins. I feel like each Billy brought a little something different to the role, but it seems like everybody really loved Billy Miller, and there were a lot of good comments on that post too. So even if you didn't get a chance to vote in the poll, if you go to yrchat.com, there are just some incredible comments here. Gosh, I could just sit here and read them all to you, but you should definitely go check them out, because I think people feel very passionately about the character of Billy, and especially right now when he is just erupting. I mean, I like Jason Thompson in this role. I think that I was skeptical of him at first, and even, if another Billy is my favorite, I really am getting into Jason Thompson. I'm getting into this current Billy, and I think that he and Victoria have so much heat. He tries so hard to, I don't know, like get up on, it's weird, because this week Victoria comes to see him and offers a little bit of an olive branch. Let's work on a resolution. Okay, fine. Let's not go to war. Let's work it out. Let's just share the profits. That's what it should be. And instead, Billy starts to try to initiate sexual stuff with her. I mean, he basically pulls her in, and there's this big passionate kiss, and it was very hot. And of course, she pushes him away and turns him down, as is the pattern. And it ignites her fire against him even more. But the weird thing is, here's the thing, it was like one scene later that Phyllis came over, and I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I felt like Billy was pursuing Phyllis. It was almost like Victoria turned him down, and so he thought he could get a little from Phyllis. Like he was just feeling randy or something, and he just wanted to get it on with someone. Doesn't matter if it's your brother's wife. Did you guys get that? It was subtle, but it was there. I mean, she comes over encouraging him to work things out with Victoria, and he's there tempting Phyllis with a drink. It was a tempting moment. Like, she didn't really want the drink and he's just standing there with the glass saying, come on, just one. And there was something about it that to me seemed subtly like he was trying to seduce her. And I mean, isn't drinking what got them into that trouble in the first place? He knows what he's doing, right? It's almost like I'm getting into this new Billy because it's like the Billy Miller version always to me seemed like kind of a happy, hapless sort of screw up. Like he was always good-natured. I don't think Billy ever the Billy Miller version, he never really seemed to intend anybody harm. I don't know. To me, I'm getting this dark Billy. I mean, everything post Delia Delia's death is probably dark Billy, and I think that happened right around the time of Billy Miller leaving the show. But I almost get this feeling like Billy is just looking for someone to be debaucherous with. Like someone to get in trouble with. He's been with the good girl, Victoria, for all of these years, and maybe that, and he's like, almost like he's trying to pull Phyllis into this world, like, yeah, let's be naughty. You know, and it's not even just sexual, but as far as Pasky, he's trying to get her to play on his side against her own husband. It's strange, but it is very compelling to me to see this version of him. Maybe it's like Dark Billy is represented also by Catherine's dark bachelor pad. I think every week more of the mansion decor appears, and it's more awful to me. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but to me it is more awful every time I see it. There's like a red front door. There's all of these just gross, dark clay knickknacks and things, not the elegant ceramics and beautiful sparkly things that I'm sure Catherine had around. And then, I'm sorry, but did you get a load of those curtains? I cannot believe that anyone in the year 2016 would pick that pattern for curtains. They're hideous. It is beyond hideous, in fact. Not feeling it whatsoever. I wish that I could just turn back time and make that Chancellor Mansion redo not have happened. Well, anyway, Victoria's lawsuit, it started really ramping up on Friday's show. It's proceeding. She is just feeling vicious. She wants everyone in town to be deposed, or everyone associated with Jabot. And Billy's plan, his big advice to Kevin and Mariah and Natalie, who are integral players in everything that happened with Pasky. It's very much their idea. It's been very much their baby. They stand to win or lose. Billy's initial plan and initial advice to these kids is lie. Why not lie? Come on, join the debaucherous train with me. Again, I think he just wants to pull everybody else in at this point to the misery that he's feeling. I think maybe after Delia's death, this is just me reaching here, but maybe he tried too hard to cover the darkness, and now he's just embracing it, and it's becoming a cone of darkness that's sucking other people in around him. So his plan is lie. Phyllis is starting to try to turn to the light a little bit more. I think having the kiss with Billy maybe shocked her and made her realize what's really important and that she needs to focus on her marriage, focus on her husband, and I really think that's what she's trying to do. Part of her plan when she gets deposed is to confront Michael, which probably wasn't a good idea, but she's been trying to call him. He hasn't been returning her calls, and when she does confront him, Michael really let her have it in the greatest way possible. I mean, it's tough because Michael clearly blames Phyllis, but I don't think that it's Phyllis's fault, really, for what's happening to him. Christian LeBlanc was phenomenal in that scene, but nobody made Michael decide to represent Victor and throw the case. He knew very well that he could be disbarred, and nobody forced him to do it. The thing that, yes, it was wrong for Phyllis to ask him to do it, but that's why you should have said no. The one little interesting tidbit from that scene that I never thought of, but is a significant detail, was the fact that Phyllis knew and didn't mention that she stood to gain millions with Victor in jail. She didn't happen to mention that to Michael when she was asking him to do this little favor for her. I thought that was really interesting. And the other piece of that scene that I loved, and I loved Michael this week in every way, was that I didn't think about how Michael's life is currently being destroyed. I like that he mentioned that everyone now on the internet and in the papers, they're going over not only what he did now, but digging up his old past crimes, which Michael's got a dark, dark history. And now it's all being dug up for his children to see, and for Ben to see. I guess he only has one child. But it's really sad that that's happening to him. I just think he should have said no to her in the first place. You can't blame somebody else for the decisions that you've made, but you can choose to end the friendship, and that's what he's chosen to do. It seems like Michael and Phyllis are really not gonna be friends anymore. And I also loved that he had a little follow-up scene and heart-to-heart with Kevin. Michael does not want his brother to lose by getting into the middle of this whole Newman versus Abbott-Jabot war mess just the way that he did. He's trying to prevent Kevin from doing anything illegal that could further ruin his life. And it's like, basically, Mariah and Natalie and Kevin have all been asked by Billy to lie and misrepresent what happened, but Summer's been deposed too. Summer's kind of the light side. She's right in the middle. Now that Nick is on board at Newman, he is trying to talk to her and encourage her to tell the truth at this deposition. He even says, if you look through, I'm loving this version of Nick, and maybe this is going to be a little bit of a haunting foreshadowing, but he says, if you look the other way when someone is doing something wrong, like your mother did wrong, stealing from Newman, then you're not doing them a favor. You're giving them permission to do it again. I loved that line. Taking it even out of the context of this story, that is such a good life lesson. If you look the other way when someone does something wrong, you're not helping them, you're giving them permission to do it again. That was so fantastic. But I don't know what makes Nick think that Summer's going to do the right thing and side with him and the Newman family, or I'll even say the right thing in quotes, when she didn't side with Phyllis. And I've seen a lot of comments from Y&R chatters this week who are totally right, saying it's wrong that Summer sided with Victor over Phyllis. What Victor did to Phyllis was so incredibly clearly wrong. I can't argue that. And it's insane that Summer would choose to be on Victor's side. I'm just trying to understand why it is. I want to know why it is. Maybe Summer's losing traction with fans. People probably are not loving her as much as before after making this little decision. But if Summer tells the truth and everyone else lies, I think Billy even said, it only takes one of us to crack and we all go down, and that's what's going to happen if the lawsuit goes forward. Jack tries very hard to stop that lawsuit. Jack has been in business for years. He knows how to use diplomacy to diffuse a situation like this. He's been trying to broach a relationship with Victoria, create some peace between the families. So he goes to Victoria to try to suggest that a very generous deal that would allow Newman Enterprises to share in Paskey's profits and would stop the lawsuit. But Victoria wasn't there, Nick was there, and right in the middle of Jack's big presentation, very nice, very appropriate presentation, Billy interrupts it right in the middle with his bravado. I mean, Jack is standing there in his suit and tie and being extremely professional, and Billy comes in with his collar unbuttoned, and he just looks like he just was drunk last night, and he just dragged all of that like juju into the room, and it just came off as, hey, I'm the screw up brother again, and I'm not going to give you anything. He completely negates any dealing that Jack was trying to do, and now Jack and Billy are in a huge disagreement over this. I mean, Nick, it's sort of left on a note of, well, we'll think about it. Obviously, there's some discord here at Jabot. Obviously, this lawsuit is working and at least, causing some problems with the company who is now reaping the benefits of Paskey. But it's also putting Phyllis right in the middle of the two guys. And whose side is she going to take? I think we're seeing signs that Phyllis is trying to take the side of her husband and help reel Billy in. Billy is not just your friend. Billy is your family member, your husband's brother. The role that you need to play with Billy is different than you would play with a friend, and I think she's starting to get that. Billy's outburst ended up completely costing them a peaceful resolution. Nick comes in and says, sorry, no, Victoria decided no dice, so we are going to move forward with the lawsuit. Peaceful resolution, off the table. So I don't know. Next week, are we going to be right back in court? And here's the idea for a solution for Jabot. Why don't you hire Kane? Come on. He's sniffing around the situation. He's got a lot to offer. Think of all of the sexy suits that Kane could wear to work. Think of all of the sexy things that Kane could say at work. Think of all of the sex that Kane could have with Lily on his desk. Am I the only one that thinks that's a wonderful solution? I just think, wouldn't the world be a much better place for everyone if Kane spent a little more time shirtless? Oh, sorry, it distracts me. And when I think about Kane, I just go right off track, but I have to stay focused here. And the next thing I want to focus on is Nikki. Okay, I feel of two minds about this because Victor's not a good guy. Victor is not a good husband. He's been terrible and awful to her. These two people have spent so very little time loving one another. It feels like Victor and Nikki do nothing but insult each other, undermine each other, and it's almost at this point, and I wish it hadn't headed down this path, because I can be a Nikki and Victor fan forever. I would love nothing more than for Victor and Nikki to just settle into their relationship, love each other, provide wisdom and support to the rest of the people in their family and the cast, on the show. I think Victor and Nikki could have challenges that have nothing to do with their relationship. I've said that for years here on Y&R Chat, but at the same time, that's not what we're getting. All we're getting are two people who, in an unhealthy relationship, they want more to destroy each other, it seems, and like somebody has to win. Like, they both have something to prove. I mean, Nikki has to prove that she's smart enough or good enough, and Victor has to, I don't know what he's trying to prove to the world still. He never feels smart enough, good enough, I think, and that's why he's always doing the things he's doing. But, I mean, I guess the main point of this week that I wanted to say is that even though Victor's a terrible husband, I mean, he's pretty much a terrible person, I can kind of understand why he didn't want Nikki there in the hospital room. I think Victor feels like Nikki and the rest of the family, sans Adam for some reason, turned their back on him, and so now he's turning his back on her and them. It goes for Nikki, it goes for the kids, and it kind of, that part at least makes sense to me. I think that the Newmans, the Newman children and Nikki are now realizing that their plan completely didn't work. I don't think they really understood the seriousness of what they were initiating with the charges. I think they were just so tired of protecting him, so tired of constantly covering up for his crimes, and they maybe they mustered up enough courage to finally band together and take him down. And I don't think any of them were really expecting the man to go to state prison for 10 years and to be in mortal danger. And so now it's completely thrown off their sense of right and wrong, their sense of self, their sense of family. It's called everything into question. But from Victor's perspective, saying, who the hell is Nikki? To Dylan, he is following through with what he promised in the courtroom. You're all dead to me. It's exactly what Nick said to Summer. If you continually turn your head when someone does something wrong, then you're actually enabling them to do it again. And I think the mistake that the Newman family made was not turning Victor in now. It was always supporting him for the past 20 years. Maybe if they wouldn't have chose to okay the fact that he was doing these bad things over the course of the years, it wouldn't have gotten this far. Maybe they're realizing that. I don't know. But for Nikki, just kind of focusing on her for a second, I just want to see her own her decision at this point. You cannot turn back time. You all have done this to him. You cannot sit up there on the stand and testify against him and send him to prison and then expect for him to still love you and treat you the same way. I think that it was unrealistic to think so. So since you can't turn back time, Nikki, you need to accept what your life is now. You need to accept what you did. Either stand by Victor through thick and thin and the bad and the good and everything, including the latest scandal, or just leave him and move on. Make a decision. Drink or don't drink. Decide what you're going to do. The floundering back and forth that we're seeing from Nikki, going from, yes, I'm very strong, to, oh, I can't, I'm going to drink and I'm going to cry at Victor's bedside. It just really highlights these weaknesses in her. And of course, we don't expect Nikki to be a perfect person, but she does need help. She needs some kind of support system beyond her children and certainly beyond Victor. Now that brings me to this week's poll question. I've had a lot of people mention to me over the course of the week, and this is something that someone commented about maybe 2 weeks ago, and I did make sure to talk about it. Nikki and Jack. So we're seeing Nikki struggling with her drinking, struggling with her choices, and even though Paul had talks with her too, it seems like Jack really wants to be there for Nikki right now, and he even offered to be a shoulder, to be her sponsor or something. There was a point midweek where it seemed like those two were really, really connecting, and of course we talked about this, and yes, I am thinking that if Jack and Phyllis's marriage breaks up over the Billy thing, which I'm sure he's going to find out all about that sooner or later, is there any chance that we're going to see Nikki and Jack gravitating to one another once again? Ooh, I heard that Victor's gonna serve Nikki with divorce papers while he's in prison. I cannot substantiate that whatsoever. I usually don't even talk about spoilers that I don't have some kind of proof on, but that's what I heard, and it sort of makes sense. I can kind of see maybe even that happening next week. So that would mean that Nikki and Victor would be completely divorced, which would free her up potentially to pursue something with someone else, and it really does seem like a likely candidate might be Jack. So that's this week's poll question. I've got to get your guys' temperature on this. How would you feel about a Nikki and Jack reunion. Remember, these two have been married before. These two people have a long history that Jack even alluded to when he was talking to Nick this week. Like Jack was a very close stepfather for Nick. Jack's been a part of Nikki's life and part of the Newman family. Is Jack going to be the one to step in and fill that hole in the Newman family as the hole in the Abbott family grows wider? Oh, ho, ho, ho. You guys got to go to yrchat.com and vote in that poll. Tell me how you would feel about a Nikki and Jack reunion. And just like last week, I would love, love, love to read your detailed comments on how you feel. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Let me know. Let it rip. Nikki and Jack? Ashley is just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. She's back this week. She's well this week. She had 2 different outfits, both of which I thought were gorgeous. I thought she looked incredible as usual. You know I'm Team Ashley. Love the woman. Love seeing that light returning in her eyes, and I just can't wait to see what potential romantic light will be befalling upon her in the coming weeks. There was a little scene where Abby found out that Ashley was sick all this time and didn't tell her, and I loved that Abby confronted her and said, okay, I know this might be crazy, but I gotta ask, did you push me and Ben together because you thought you were dying? Ashley completely denies the whole thing. I think we all knew exactly what was going on. Ashley thought she was dying, and she realized that if she couldn't be happy, couldn't have a man like Ben, then she wanted her daughter to have a man like Ben. I also really giggled a lot at Stitch confronting Dr. Neville, like as if it's not even completely obvious. Everyone's marveling over Dr. Neville's research. Oh, now he's a hero. He was a pariah in the medical community before, and now he is the genius, the brilliant mind. And Stitch is going over his files, and Stitch says, as if it's some big, as if anyone couldn't see, he says, oh my gosh, Ashley's not just your patient, you're in love with Ashley. Of course he's in love with Ashley. Who wouldn't fall in love with Ashley? I can't wait for this. I love Abby and Stitch playing matchmaker. Abby decided she's going to send Ashley flowers on behalf of Simon and then do the same thing on behalf of her mom and hope these two get together. Of course, I think it's not just that she wants Ashley to have a man. I think Abby doesn't want Ashley to have her man. Oh, I did like Abby this week. I gotta give her some props. I liked that she confronted Hilary. And Stitch, oh my gosh, Stitch called Hilary the cobra in a business skirt. What a great line. What a great way to describe Hilary, the cobra in the business skirt over there. Yeah, that is her name because Hilary is on a tear. Everybody finds out, and Devon and Abby and everyone finds out that Hilary knew that Ashley was sick and she took advantage of it to get that position with the research company. Ashley and Dr. Neville busted Hilary out, by the way, which was delicious. It caused a huge fight between Devon and Hilary. Well, multiple fights between Devon and Hilary all week. And I am really actually very proud of Devon for not letting her run over him, for not letting her charm her way out of it. And even though I don't personally agree with Hilary's current outlook on life, I think that this is the most interesting that her character has ever been. I'm really into both Devon and Hilary right now. The dynamic is there. It has caused some really big arguments between those two, some big discussions. Both of the actors are really pulling their weight in those scenes. I'm just absolutely loving it. Even Lily and Kane found out this week that everything that Hilary did, and everyone's noting the remarkable change in Hilary's attitude. But I really liked that Lily and Kane took a moment to give us all and Devon a reminder of who Hilary was when she first came on the show. Hilary is no saint. But I also really appreciate that Hilary says herself, this is exactly who I am. You're right. I'm a bad girl. This is exactly who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for it. This is the real me. I just feel confident and strong enough right now to embrace it. I thought that was a great speech, and it's a big turning point in her character. I think being sweet Hilary is what got her the husband, who just also happens to be a billionaire, but being bad Hilary is what's going to cause her to lose him. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go eat some carbs. That was last week's Who Said It quote. Let's go eat some carbs. It was Phyllis. Great line. I totally identified with it. That's the most wonderful celebration I can possibly imagine. Hey, anything food related, I'm perfectly happy to celebrate that way as opposed to champagne or whatever. So that was a good quote, and absolutely everybody got it right. Apparently you guys appreciated that quote as much as I did. So Lee, Daisy, Fox Rocks, Tanya, Sharita, Gina, Victoria, Shelly, Shar, Michelle, Henry, Justin, Jamie, Adam, Connor, Tony, Amanda, Candita, Beatrice, and Jen all got it right. And Jen also says, I've been watching Y&R Chat since last summer and I really enjoy it. This is the first time I've commented or participated in a poll. Thank you for doing your show. I look forward to it every week. That is so sweet, Jen. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who got that one right. Shoot, that was quite a few people. I didn't fool you at all, but maybe I can this week. So if you think you know who said this quote, nobody likes a snitch. I think we know who it was being referred to, but if you think you know who said it, nobody likes a snitch. And if you leave your comment at yrchat.com, you too can get your shout out, your big props for being a very close Y&R watcher on next week's Y&R Chat. So yrchat.com if you think you know who said nobody likes a snitch. My favorite time, comment time. Okay, so Gary left me a voicemail. This made me laugh. Gary says, of course Ian Ward has all of those inmates wrapped around his little finger in prison. They're all following the path. I thought that too. Of course Ian Ward would be the cult leader of the prison. Gary goes on to say, if Victor has a brain tumor, maybe he would be reevaluated as innocent and not ultimately be seen as responsible for what he did. He would have been acting in a manner that he would never act. So maybe the brain tumor, the illness, is whitewashing his evil going back however far. But if that were the case, they'd have to go back 25 years. I agree that if that's that might very well be the way that Victor gets out of this, is with the brain tumor. And to your point, Gary, if they can, as you say, whitewash away anything that he did with Phyllis and Marco and whatever, I don't know what they're going to do to whitewash all of the terrible things that he did knowingly and willingly over the past 25 years. Gary also says, Nikki is back so soon. begging for crumbs of attention from Victor. It's just where she started in life. I know the scene at the bedside scene was extremely hard to watch, but I like the way you put it. She's begging for crumbs of attention from Victor, and I don't want to see her acting like that. I don't think anybody does. It's tough to watch. Daisy on Facebook says, when Victoria was talking to Dylan, she told him that she helped put Victor away because she didn't like who he was becoming. So even she noticed that Victor has not been himself. Victoria noticed Victor's behavior was over the top, even for him. And for me, that pointed again to the possibility of a medical issue that's been affecting and influencing Victor's thoughts and behavior. Yes, Victor is ruthless, but his changing for the worse might just be something out of his control. Woohoo! Why, yes. Anna left a voicemail that says, Nick looks better without facial hair. Do you guys think that, does everybody think so? We'll do a quick poll on that. Nick, facial hair or no facial hair? Which is your favorite? He never really grew a very convincing beard or the mustache. It was never that great. So I might like him without the facial hair better too. Anna also has kind of a prediction and a first instinct on who the real prison threat was, and Anna said, I could kick myself because this was my first instinct immediately when the prison, the whatever cell opened up, and it ended up being revealed to be Ian Ward. But Anna says, I think Marco Annicelli might be the big fish that's behind it all. Beatrice actually left me a voicemail later in the week that said she read that in Soap Opera Digest. So I think Anna's instincts might possibly be right there. I never would have thought of it on its own. That's why I didn't talk about it earlier. I like to give credit where credit is due. Never would have occurred to me that it was Marco possibly in the prison who's pulling the strings, but it would make sense. And is there any way that that's somehow gonna connect to Victor getting out of prison? I don't know how. Could Marco somehow provide some kind of information? I'm not sure. And even Anna had mentioned maybe we'll see Marco, maybe we won't. We know he's scarred. He has Victor had his ear cut off. That would certainly give him a reason to want to get back at Victor or to want to have Victor killed. But I could just think of so many other people it could also be. But if Beatrice read it in Soap Opera Digest, they usually know. So that might very well be the case. So we can either maybe look for seeing Marco again or just having kind of him alluded to. Aaron on YouTube says, Victor and Nikki also had a fight a few weeks ago when Nikki told Victor, do you think I want a tyrant for a husband? And Victor responded, do you think I want a drunk for a wife? Nikki only seems to drink when Victor lies to her and Nikki finds out, or Victor committed another crime against some innocent bystander, and then she needs a drink to deal with the damage Victor caused. It should be so obvious to everyone that Victor is Nikki's trigger. Yes, I cannot agree more. I always go back to that, thinking that it's not that Nikki is this, as in Victor's fantasy, his It's a Wonderful Life thing, where Nikki would have been a drunk no matter what path she would have taken. It does seem over and over again that it's always something Victor related that sets her into a mindset where she feels like she can't deal with it on her own, so she turns to her drug of choice, which is alcohol. That's so absolutely true. Gary had also left me another voicemail in regard to what's going on with the baby swap, and Gary says, I think Sharon, with Dylan's help, will be the one to uncover the truth about Christian's paternity, bringing poetry, symmetry, and absolution for Sharon. That is to say, while Sharon denied Nick his status as Summer's father by switching those paternity results, ultimately breaking up their engagement, she will give him back his son Christian, which is not actually his son at all. I never really would have thought about that either. I had theorized a little bit last week that Dylan was going to be the one to put together the pieces, but it may very well be Sharon, her new connection with Sage, and that's just a brilliant point about the fact that it kind of brings everything full circle in the Nick and Sharon relationship. She did something to steal a child from him, but she would be giving him back a child temporarily. Good point. Very good. Eric at yrchat.com says, what if Shawn were Nick's long-lost daughter? The show floated around the idea that Natalie could be Nick's daughter, but the writers seem to have dropped that idea. I don't know if I think that Shawn's going to end up being Nick's daughter, but I darn well think that Natalie's going to end up being someone's daughter. Maybe it's Sage, maybe it is Nick, maybe it is, maybe that's right, maybe that's what the key is here, because it seems like even though Y&R's had so many opportunities to bring forward that Natalie could be Victor and Judge Moxley's daughter, and that's kind of what I'm personally hoping for, it might cause a little bit of that full circle to come into effect if Nick ends up getting a long lost daughter out of it. I don't know how the heck it would have happened, but we did have that little Easter egg at the in the scene with Mariah and Natalie trying to convince Summer to lie in her deposition to help them, and Natalie said, hey, I don't, you've got, if you end up losing passkey, your parents are going to buy you a yacht, you'll be fine, you'll move on. I don't have a family. And I thought, that's a little clue. I feel like Y&R is still dangling that little carrot in front of us about who Natalie's paternity or about who her family really is. It's got to come up sooner or later. I want to bring back Judge Moxley. Beatrice makes a really good point about Hilary. Beatrice says, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Money cannot buy class. Money cannot buy respect. I love that comment because it's true. That seems to be what it is that Hilary wants. Respect more than anything. She was always seen as this woman who flip-flopped between the father and son. She was seen as this devious woman. So maybe that really does reveal a lot about her motive. What she wants is for people to respect her, but the way she's going about it ain't gonna get it. Consuela at yrchat.com says, I'm super happy to see an Adam and Sage scene when Adam comforted Sage after finding out that the adoption fell through. I love how Chelsea always looks so uncomfortable whenever Adam and Sage hug. I just got so giddy seeing them today. Yeah, see, it's gonna, the writing's on the wall. I mean, he didn't even waste a moment before he went over there to hug Sage and comfort her while Chelsea was like sour-faced over in the side. I think Adam and Sage are going to naturally gravitate toward one another once they find out they have this son. They're going to want to spend time bonding with their son, and so it's going to develop. There's no way around it. But the other piece of that puzzle is I think that Chelsea and Nick might be drawn together in that as well. Let's see. Ellen C at yrchat.com says she loved when baby Sully got the hiccups in Chelsea's apartment. Chelsea, Sage, and Sharon just carried on with the scene and tried not to smile. I'm so glad Ellen brought that up. It was a little nothing that I wasn't even going to mention, but since you mentioned it, Ellen, yes, that was adorable. And I thought that the actresses did a really good job of kind of dealing with it, because it's when you have a baby on a set or a dog, a dog animal, or I didn't mean to compare those two, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like a factor that you can't really control. It's not another adult acting in the scene. A baby or an animal or something is kind of an X factor. You don't know when someone's going to bark or yell or scream or have the hiccups, and I thought that they did kind of a good job of rolling with it. T. Nicole on YouTube, I'm so glad that somebody said this, says, T. Nicole says, how can Billy go to the office asking for forgiveness from Victoria with flowers and also be kissing her the night before, and then later in the day basically be begging Phyllis to kiss him? Thank you. I was so glad to see that particular comment from T. Nicole, because shoot, I thought, am I the only one that feels like Billy is overtly just pursuing Phyllis now? I mean, it's like he just wants to get it on with somebody. And now it is time for the much anticipated Genoa City soap giveaway. Yay! I know that's what y'all came here for this week. And I'm really jazzed about it too. So what I'm gonna do is kind of say a little bit of a goodbye for now, and then I'm going to take the camera off of the tripod and take it over to the table where I have all of the soaps laid out. And if you're listening to the podcast, you're definitely gonna wanna see the video portion because I've got all of your names laid out. So if you entered the Soap for Soap Fans giveaway, you will definitely be able to see your name written on my little soap bubbles and entered into the drawing. So I thought that would be kind of fun, so everybody at least gets to see that part of it. So I'm gonna do that, and then let's see. I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here and say that if you'd like to leave me some comments, you can go to yrchat.com and leave a comment on the blog, or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. All of those links are there. The voicemail number is 309-588-4569 if you'd like to leave a voice comment. If you want to see the live video, if you're listening to the podcast and want to see the live video of the drawing, I'm going to have the video for the soap drawing and the secret giveaway drawing, which if you don't know about the secret giveaway, then you should definitely sign up for the newsletter. All of that stuff is at genoacitysoap.com, and the secret giveaway is for a soap and lotion gift set. So if you're watching this video, you can also go to genoacitysoap.com and see the secret giveaway drawing too. So all of that is coming up, and I think I'll just say goodbye and I love you for this week, and we'll do a little soap drawing next. So everybody take care, have a good week, let's win some soap. It is a beautiful spring day for a beautiful spring soap for soap fans giveaway. Woohoo! Beautiful. Thanks to everybody who entered the giveaway. I have your names all laid out here right next to the bars that you chose to win. Over here off to the side, by the way, is the secret giveaway. This giveaway was for a bar of soap and a lotion of your choice. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter at genoacitysoap.com, you missed out on an extra giveaway because these folks got to participate in this giveaway and this one. So some people in here got some double chances to win. And I laid out basically I wrote your name on my little spring themed colored soap bubbles if you went to the blog and entered the giveaway. And I wrote your name along with the bar of soap that you wanted to win on the little soap bubbles. And I'm just scanning them here with the camera now because I tried to lay them out so that if you entered the giveaway, you will definitely see your name in the mix and you'll know what color your bubble is, because when I mix them up, I'm just going to kind of blindly pick one. You'll be wondering with bated breath if you're the winner. Okay, so I am going to now mix them all up, flip them all over, and we'll see who wins the bar. Are you guys ready for this? Let me get them hold on, I'm gonna go freehand here, and I'll see if so that I can use both of my paws and give them a good mixing. And then I think I'm just gonna close my eyes and pick one. I'm not gonna see which color I'm feeling this time. We'll just we'll just do a blind one here. I'd say that's pretty good. Those are shuffled. Okay, so closing my eyes and revealing the winner. Actually, let me spread them out here. Revealing the winner to be, let's get deep. Let's go with this one. Okay, I'm opening my eyes. The winner, oh my gosh, it's Gina! Yay! Gina in Australia, oh my gosh, she is going to flip out. She won the Lily bar. I know Gina's been in every single giveaway and she hasn't won yet. So I know she's really going to appreciate this. Yay! I'm so happy for you, Gina. This is a really good one. This is a lily fragrance, but it's got some other floral notes in there too. And plus it's really pretty. I wore today my top. I'm wearing a shirt that was inspired, that I bought because it looked like the lily bar. It's a really pretty bar of soap. I think you're gonna love it. I'm so excited to finally send you something, Gina. Wow. Congratulations. Aw. You know what? I can't just pick one. How could I? You guys are so awesome, and I really appreciate your support and the really nice comments that you guys left on the website too. That's been fun to read your comments all week. So that it's made my week a little bit better. So how about we do an additional winner here? Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes again and I'll see. Let me go. Let's go this. Well, no, let's go over here. I have to entertain myself. All right, I'll go with this one. Okay. The second winner of our grand Soap for Soap fan giveaway is Ms. LaToya. Yay! Oh man, the Cricket bar was definitely, I think, the most popular of all of them. I'm not sure if it's because everybody wanted it last time and I ran out of them really quick, but the Cricket bar, this is really, it smells really good. It's all of these things: green apple, lavender, wildflower, and it's kind of herbal too. So it's definitely been one of my favorites. I was happy to have one of these for myself. So I think LaToya is gonna love it too. Yay! Congratulations to Ms. LaToya and Ms. Gina. Oh, I'm so glad these two got picked too. The poor guys over here. They had, I think, the fewest number of entries. That nobody wanted those poor guys, I guess. But if you would still like to have one of them, I'm going to toss the extra soaps up into my little pop-up shop at GenoaCitySoap.com. If you want to pick them up, they should be up there and ready right now. And if your name is Gina or LaToya, you're going to have one of these babies sent to you. I'm going to make a post office trip tomorrow, so these will be in the mail and on their way to you very, very soon. Yay! Congratulations, you guys, and thanks again to everybody. And now it's gonna be time to draw the winner for this little gift set here. I'm excited about soap and lotion, So if you want to see that video, whether you entered that drawing or not, it's coming right up. Thanks again, soap fans. I love you guys. Bye.